Welcome back. You're watching Global Eye. This week has seen two major developments in the field of artificial intelligence. US President Joe Biden signed an executive order for safe and secure development of AI. The order calls for new safety standards, protecting privacy, and steps to boost innovation and competition, among others. Just days after, leaders from 28 nations gathered in the UK for a summit and signed the Bletchley Declaration. India, US, UK are among the signatories. So what does this really mean for AI governance around the world? Joining us now to discuss this is Alex Krasnodonsky, Senior Research Associate at the Digital Society Initiative at Chatham House, and Gopi Kathragada, President of the Institute of Engineering and Technology. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Alex, let me begin with you. What is the importance of the Bletchley Declaration, according to you, especially when it comes to advancing cooperation on AI?
Thanks for having me. The importance of the Bletchley Declaration, I think, is best measured in who has signed it rather than what is necessarily on the page. It is a necessarily quite high-level document that talks about safety and responsibility when it comes to the sort of use and development of AI. It is not too specific, but it is significant that, as you laid out at the start of this segment, we do have signatories from, including India, the EU, the UK, the US, and also China. And that is a step forward in terms of global cooperation on the future of this technology.
Right. Yes, the signatories are significant. Dr. Gopi, Rishi Sunak said that most advanced tech companies will allow governments to vet their AI tools. Meta, Google, DeepMind, OpenAI agreeing to allow users to test their latest AI products. How significant is this? And do you think there are any real teeth to this announcement?
No, I think the announcement is significant in many ways. I think it recognizes where the action is. And the action is on the ground with the users who are using the tools, which are rolling out at a very fast pace. And it is pretty much impossible for regulators to keep pace. Whereas as users and as developers and as people who have been waiting for this moment and engineering this moment for the past 30 years, we know best how to look for issues, in data and ethical data aspects, how to look for issues in AI impact, where it's being used. So I think it's a very good way to look at enabling safe AI.
Right. And one of the aims, of course, was also to slow the race to develop systems that can compete with humans. Alex, what do you feel about the conversation between Elon Musk and Rishi Sunak? Elon Musk going on to say that AI is the most disruptive force in history. There will come a point when no job is needed. On the other hand, there was also talk about creating a skilled workforce, making sure that workplace displacement is at its bare minimum. How do you think both the benefits and drawbacks of AI will be balanced by the discussions that happened at Bletchley Park?
It's an interesting question, and it's certainly an interesting sight to see the richest man on the planet being interviewed by a prime minister in an event that a number of political commentators here in the UK have described as extremely strange. I think we would be cautious before reading too much into Elon Musk's suggestions. We've heard for many, many years how technology is going to create more free time, less time spent on work. None of that has come true yet. In fact, quite the opposite. We've seen that technological advancements have led to things like the gig economy, Uber, Deliveroo, where actually working conditions have got sort of actually significantly worse. So let's be a little bit cautious before we say that AI is going to free us all to never work again and that somehow it's all going to be okay. There will be huge disruption. There will be a changing of the guard when it comes to the kinds of jobs that are becoming less and less needed, and obviously new jobs will replace them. That's all a little bit unknown. It's critical that governments have a role in easing, managing, setting the roadmap for that transition, because left only in the hands of private companies. We've seen that play out before, and it can lead to, I think, quite a lot of disruption for ordinary people trying to get to grips with a very fast-changing world.
Right. Dr. Gopi, coming to you, when it comes to the executive order that has been signed by the US, where do you think this is in terms of having global regulations? How is it going to impact businesses immediately? One of the important points is that developers of powerful AI systems will have to share test results and critical information with the government. So how will this impact companies which are working in the United States and working with companies connected to the United States and other jurisdictions, including India?
I think similar to the emission norms, if you can use an analogy for automotives, these kind of regulations will require, similar to the automotive companies showing their ability to meet growing standards on emission norms, growing standards around data privacy, fairness of the wage that you pay for data workers, and also to demonstrate that their technology will not be used and there is an end-use kind of an agreement. All of these have been implemented in the past through various other regulations. So this is not new for the US, and it's important for the US to take a lead also because most of the investments into the companies have been in the US, tens of billions of dollars. And so it is good to see this leadership being exhibited by the US in data safety as well. But the main aspect of its implementation will come when all countries move together, because you cannot have imbalanced regulations of one country saying you can use copyrighted material for training neural networks and other countries not following suit. So it will have to balance out for this to be implementable. So both Biden's executive order and the work done by Rishi Sunak and team in the UK are equally important starting points. But I do agree also with the discussion that jobs going away is something that might not happen in our lifetimes for sure, and might not happen at all unless we stop being creative.
Right. That's an important point, Dr. Gopi. But Alex, coming back to you, one of the points from the Biden executive order was to provide clear guidance to prevent AI algorithms from being used to exacerbate discrimination, make sure they are used for the right purposes. And he also called on the Congress to pass data privacy legislation. The immediate implications for companies in the United States and how they function in global jurisdictions. How difficult would it be for companies to comply with some of these directions in the executive order?
History has shown that the US is pretty unwilling to put too firm a set of regulations around its industries, particularly its digital industries. Certainly by comparison to other parts of the world, the EU is a really good example of one. And I think we have to understand that the backdrop of this whole conversation is an understanding that many governments, but also industries, see AI as a critical part of their future development and their future competitiveness in the world economy. So look, it's good to see that the US executive order does touch on these short-term risks, these problems of today and frankly also yesterday. Discrimination by algorithm, for instance, whether or not you are issued a credit card or whether or not your mortgage is approved. These are often decisions that are made by algorithm. They are decisions that are made today, and they are often decisions that we perhaps don't understand quite how they might work, and potentially those they create risk of bias. That is not a conversation that we had so much of here in the UK. It is good that it's taking place in the US, but I think we should be cautious about expecting the US to really rein in its AI industry, particularly at a time of quite sort of strict global competition between, let's say, the US and China or other parts of the world.
Right. Professor Gopi, Dr. Gopi, I've run out of time, but one quick question. How should India respond to these fast-changing developments and rules globally? If you can tell us in about 20 seconds.
Yeah, so India has a significant market from energy to healthcare to transportation. All of these areas are going to be impacted by AI. And the directions which NASSCOM, CII, the industry have provided the government already cover what US is claiming to be groundbreaking regulations, and also what has been been discussed in UK. So I think we are on the right path. We are aware of how to go about in this digital economy, of which AI is just a part, even though it's a significant part going forward.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Gopi and Alex, for joining us on the program, telling us about the big takeaways from the AI summit in UK and Biden's executive order on regulating AI as well. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Global Eye. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.